Greetings everyone, my name is FlareBlitzed and welcome to Stillwater. Private investigator Hugo was ready to busy himself with more paperwork until a undisturbed woman entered his office to request an investigation regarding her grandfather's safety. What danger awaits underneath the surface of this mystery? We shall see then. This is a work of fiction. The resemblance to any real-life people is purely coincidental. This game contains depictions of horror, mature themes, violence, and strong language. Viewer discretion is advised. You'll be able to find this game down in the description below, so that you may be able to download it for yourselves. I'm sorry, but I can't stay here anymore, Nina. I feel like I'm going crazy. Calm down. If we could just talk it out, so many strange things keep happening after another. Every day there is this damn dripping sound. I thought it was just something leaking at first, but I check every faucet, every ceiling, every pipeline, and still it goes drip, 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 drip. Still I hear it everywhere, constantly echoing in my ears. Oh, but the water! I find random pools of water just appear out of nowhere, just like the dripping. But it's all night. But it's at night. It's at night when it comes. I don't know if it's my paranoia, but I swear I could hear footsteps walking along the hallways, walking on pools of water. They walk, and they walk, upstairs, then downstairs, and upstairs, and downstairs, and upstairs, and downstairs, etc., etc. And it goes on, and on, and on like that. But somehow it does come to an end, eventually when the water demon decides to stop leaking. Take that how you will, and it ends. All in front of your grandfather's room. Said grandfather mystery, it would seem. I know that this is a lot, but you have to believe me. Exactly. Believe the person who is talking to you right now. No matter how many times I clean, it just won't end. I can't stay here any longer. I'm sorry, Nina. It's okay. I understand. What does Nina know? Thank you for taking care of my grandfather. Nina, please listen to me. I don't know what's happening around here, but... The woman on the phone cautiously looks around before speaking again in a hushed tone. Something terrible is lurking through this house. Something terrible, you say? Oh, kind of like a crooked man sort of thing. I don't know what it is, but please, as soon as you get back, take your grandfather and just leave this place. I don't think it would leave your grandfather alone. It is something within the mind. I can't just leave. That's my home. Please, Nina, this place, it's not safe. I don't know what you saw, but I can't just leave things like this. Then what do you expect me to do then? It's my home. It's my home. Yes, and a home only has so much to it. The true memories of your home are in here, written down, not within a geographical confinement. Diner, 7 AM. Amid a foggy morning, there sits a man by the corner of a booth. He drinks black coffee and, depending on his mood, occasionally orders a donut. If he's not feeling sweet enough, he orders a donut. And today, it was just black coffee, because it felt sweet enough. Ugh. I swear, I've never seen that amount of paperwork in my life. A freaking mountain worth of it. You're a valuable member of our team, Hugo. My foot. He certainly looks like a detective, honestly. He's not exactly what you would call calm like a detective, like a certain Keith Baring from the Boogeyman. I'm starting to believe that I was bamboozled into joining their agency. I was about to say agenda there. I suppose it's not too far off. Hugo Laurent, age 30, takes a good look at his cup of joe and chugs it all in one sitting. How do you do that with coffee? I don't know. I have to sip at it. He then continues to grumble to himself about last night's grueling work at the office. Grueling work or grueling colleagues? Or both. Or neither, you're just complaining. I really need to find a different job. Really now. Once you're a detective, you can't really get out of the life of said detective. And you always have certain information that is confidential. As he contemplates his poor life choice, he looks out towards the early mist. There is something inherently terrifying about the fog to him, how it engulfs everything and nothing. Even if it disappears, it always leaves behind traces. Like what exactly? The moist grass? Proof of it remaining. Even in a quaint little town like this, I can't even run from my fate, I guess. Hugo finally stares at the compiled newspaper clippings he put together. Some of them from recent events, but mainly all were past headlines of missing person cases. No matter how many times I see this, it's still just as hard to look. Fixating case after case, he can't help but remind himself that there is a reason for all of this. An all too personal reason. Seeing strange things come with a price. In the end, I'm the one doing this to myself. Sounds rough. Mind if I join you? An annoyingly familiar voice interrupts his train of thought. He slowly looks up to see the one responsible, although reluctantly. Hello? Hi there. Good morning, Hugo. Hugo scrolls and turns away from him. He then gathers the files and shoves it back into the binder. Meanwhile, the tall man takes this as initiative and sits at the opposite end of the booth. He greets the waitress passing by and orders himself the hefty body breakfast special, with an extra plate, of course. As usual, the waitress is happy to oblige and goes back to the counter to relay his order. Yes, I would like one of the thing that you never have on the menu. You know what it is. It's that 1.5 whole cows. That's right, 1.5 whole cows. As a starter, you don't want to know what the main course is. The man then looks back at Hugo. He sees the empty cup and the now jumbled newspaper clippings, all the while Hugo is trying to ignore him. You really should eat something with that black coffee. Not ordering any donuts today? I'm fine, Noah. I'm just not in the mood today. Not even a little. There is a momentary silence between them before Noah disturbs it once more. Well, too bad for you. I ordered a big breakfast for the two of us. Two? Exactly. As if the world could grace Noah with an even more perfect punchline before food arrives. That quickly. And there's sausages, rashed of bacon, fried eggs, and hash browns with tomato. Oh, and the pancakes too, they're delicious. Why the hell did you order for the two of us? Just eat what you want to eat, don't worry about me. Whoa, this looks so delicious, right, Hugo? Are you even listening to me? Come on, we both know that if you don't eat now, who knows when you will. I'm not about to let you faint again, so open wide. Noah D. Leon, age 27, a natural-born charmer. It's just as equally persuasive as he is threatening. With a pensive look, Hugo finally gives in and eats the generous spoonful without further complaints. Exactly. It's good, right? Good food will always help cheer you up. Also put in some nutritions as well. Whatever nutritions there is in a breakfast like this. Damn him. I got swept away again. Oh, by the way, the chef will be out for... Oh, the chief will be out for a business trip. She mentioned it will be for a couple of days. What did she tell you this? So, when did she tell you this? I didn't hear anything about it. Yesterday, I think? When all the day you were in the toilets? Yesterday? She told me to sort out the cabinets yesterday. She didn't mention anything about a business trip. I guess it was a pretty sudden one. Well, I mean, she did tell me to tell you. And lucky me, I know where you go every morning. Thanks, you know what? I'm not surprised anymore. Even though I was surprised about 5 seconds ago, guess what? Fire away anything. Come at me. Let's see if I'm surprised still. Well, what do you want to do? We technically have the day off. I'm gonna head back to the office. There's a couple of boxes I didn't get a chance to sort out. In that case, I'll come with you. Why? You could just rest for the day, but that's boring. And pass up this opportunity to get to know you better? Quit it. After their nightly banter, the two of them finish their breakfast, pay for their meals, and head to Hugo's car. Lovely. As Noah opens the door to the passenger seat, he notices a bloodhound sleeping inside. A bloodhound. That's not what you usually call a doggy-woggy, is it? Ah, the big dog stirs at the sound of a car opening, lazily stares at Noah. Ah, I'm sorry, big guy. He then closes the door while trying not to make too much noise to disturb its occupant. Colby. At the sound of his name, his heavy lidded eyes slowly peek to see who calls for him. It is his one and only partner, his human. As if finally realizing who he is or where he is, the old bloodhound stirs up from his sleep, pounds at Hugo, and proceeds to wag his tail uncontrollably. Good doggy. Bork. Good morning again, Colby. Had a nice nap? Colby, 8 years old. Hugo's most faithful and loving partner in crime. Has the biggest tendency to just sleep all over the place. Noah, who is witnessing all of this from the back seat, chuckles to himself. He is amazed and slightly defeated at Hugo's sudden surge of energy. It doesn't matter how many times I try, when it comes to boosting up his mood, no one can beat Colby. Agency, 7:50 a.m. The three headed back to the office, the space just the same as Hugo left it. A decent, organized mess. To his credit for the amount of boxes he painstakingly went through, he believes he did a fair job. A bait could have been better. Well, you really outdid yourself, Hugo. It looks less crowded. Oh, shut it with you. I said I was going to get to it. And woofy, thanks, boy. What did the boy do? What did the good boy do? Obviously be a good boy. All the goodest of girls are the bestest of boys. Before Hugo could continue to give deserved head pats, he notices someone. Whom? A woman stands timidly, peering outside from the storefront. The woman appears a bit frantic. Disheveled and wearing ill-fitted clothes, she appears to be distressed about something. When she finally makes eye contact with Hugo, she immediately rushes in. Was this the caretaker? That would seem to be the case. Her eyes are also bloodshot red, unless it's her natural eye color. I'm so sorry. I know that the clothes sign is up, but I saw you come in and I... Are you alright, miss? I need your help. My grandfather... Oh, what's her name again? I've completely forgotten now. Nina, there we go. Before she could continue, Noah swiftly intervenes. It's okay. We'll hear what you have to say. So please, why don't you take a seat? Noah gestures to one of the empty chairs. The poor woman hesitates for a moment before heavily sighing in relief. She then walks towards the center, the corner of the room, and sits on the sofa. Can you start off by telling us your name? I'm sorry for earlier. My name is Nina Mortimer. I need help watching over my grandfather tonight. Watching over your grandfather? Yes. I'm sorry, Miss Mortimer, but I don't quite understand. Is he in danger? I'm afraid he is. Miss Mortimer, if that is the case, wouldn't contacting the police be better? No! I've tried requesting their help, but they all gave me the same answer. There's nothing they can do about it. If only I knew who Louise was. Louise? Nina fidgets at the name. She looks to the side before reaching out from her bag for an antique letter. My grandfather, he received a cryptic message the other day. It didn't come with an address or the name of the sender. However, the only thing I did pick up was that name. As she hands over the letter, Hugo notices her hand slightly shaking. Whatever lies in this note must have shaken her this badly. Delicately, Hugo removes the contents of the envelope and unfolds it. At first glance, it seems like any normal written message. However, a person named Louise asking the other, Henry, to come meet him by the lake at midnight, needing to share something important with him. However, what's eerily striking about this letter is not the message itself. Is it something to do with the sigil at the back of the envelope? Oh, rather at the bottom of the page, a sentence far more disturbing is written. Like, I am coming for you, Henry. Now that is quite bad. Also, why is it written in red? Not blood red. Blood red has to be darker than that. Were there any other letters like this? Yes, a few of them. I thought it was a sick joke at first, but this one was different. Up until now, I've never heard of anyone by that name. Not a relative or family friend. But they clearly know who my grandfather is. If I didn't do something about this, I'll lose him too. So what you're saying is, you've also lost somebody else that is very, very important to you. Like your grandmother? Obviously, because you have a grandfather. Just by uttering the words alone, Nina breaks down. Hiding away her tear-streaked face, she begins to quietly sob to herself. Damn. As an act of comfort, Colby sits closely to Nina while Noah fetches tissues for her. Hugo, on the other hand, is puzzled. This very well could have been a prank, but she seems certain that whoever or whatever this Louise person is, they're coming. Do you want more tissues? I'll do it. I'll take on your case. For a moment, silence fills the room. Only stares are directed at Hugo, until Nina finally stands up and walks towards him. You'll take it? Hugo simply nods. Thank you, thank you. You don't know how much this means to me. We're glad to help, miss. Nina is fine. Well, Nina, we'll do our best. Nina slightly smiles at Hugo before reaching to her bag once more and taking out a note. This is my address. I'll be sure to greet you once when you get there, detective. She politely bows once more before heading to her car and drives back home. Once out of sight, Hugo turns to look at his cluttered desk. Still messy but presentable. I guess I'll have to sort these out later. Again. When you have a backlog and you finally decide to get to it, but then something comes in your way and then you have to put it on your backlog again. This is one of those moments. 5:30 PM car. And it's raining. From the ongoing downpour to the quiet hums of the car, they sit in silence. Still miles off from their destination, Hugo constantly checks the rearview mirror. Noah, who usually chats his ear off by now, sits completely still. He looks out to the passing streetlights, reserved and distant. Hey, you're a lot quieter than usual. What's wrong? This is a surprise. Have you been looking at me, Hugo? No, you idiot. You usually just talk a lot, that's all. So, do you miss me talking a lot? No, it's just very natural for you to talk a lot. You didn't think this one ahead, did you, Hugo? Just say it. I didn't want to offend Nina earlier, so I kept quiet until she finished. But it's her last name that caught me off guard. Mortimer. Have you heard about the Mortimers? They're a pretty distinguished family. Well, they used to be. What do you mean? They've been struck with so many tragedies that over time people have begun to believe they were cursed or something. Every other year I would see a headline on the local news about one of the family members' deaths. And you know what's strange? All of them have been labelled as accidents. Accidents, sorry. Are you sure that they are accidents, or is that just an easy way of telling to the public that it was an accident? Like manslaughter is an accident. So therefore there would be quote-unquote no one to blame. But yet there is someone to blame. And there always is someone to blame. And in the case of manslaughter, it was the driver. Not intended, but they still did it. But the question is, within that manslaughter, is that truly the case? Did they not intend to do it? Because you can never ever 100% guarantee that they didn't intend to. No foul play, no nothing. Just another unfortunate event for the family. Maybe I understand why she wouldn't go to the police. She probably thought they perceived her as paranoid or hysterical. Or worse, crazy. I can't imagine all of this for Nina. And most of all, who knows what we'll find there. Is that why you decided to come with me, so? Well, partially. I'm more worried about you, though. Think of it this way. I'm the appointed driver. When you decide to do some pretty reckless stuff, I'll be there to drive you to the local hospital. Besides, two are better than one. Exactly. I was fine with Colby coming with me. Exactly, two better than one. Damn. As in two people. Well, have you heard that 3 is better than 2? I've never heard of that one before. 2 heads are better than 1, but still that counts as Hugo and Colby. Passing through countless dirt roads and steep cliffs, the estate reveals itself beyond the evergreen. Nestled and tucked away from prying eyes, it stands tall, looming from a distance. And here we are. My gosh, Hugo and Noah can only gaze at the sheer scale of the manor as they parked adjacent to Nina's car. Wow. And to think she came all this way just to request us? It took us more than a couple of hours to get here. Maybe she really didn't have a choice. What do you mean? Come on, she's waiting for us. Immediately after exiting the driver's seat, a sudden sharp pain weighs heavy on Hugo's chest. Grasping tightly at his coat, he begins to gasp for air. Where did this sudden pain come from? His gaze hazes as he leans close to the car. Gosh, like a fish drawn out from sea, he desperately heaves. But this ache he harbours pales in comparison to a pain far more excruciating. It is the house. No, something far more sinister. He feels it. Someone is watching him. A piercing gaze fixed on him, like leering at a bug and waiting to strike. I'll never forgive you. What the hell? Damn it already! I need to hurry or else. Hey, are you alright? No calls out to him, snapping him out of his fixated trance. Kobe nudged his head against Hugo, whining with concern over his partner's well-being. Did you hear that just now? Hear what? That voice. It was so close to my ear, Is everything alright? Hi there. Oh, I'm fine, don't mind me. I'm just a bit winded out from the trip, that's all. Are you not going to say what really happened, Hugo? You're really not going to state what has exactly happened? I'll be happy to make you coffee at the very least. If it's no trouble. No, not at all. It's the least I can do. Once again, this subtle uneasiness from Nina's surfaces. But before Hugo can get a glance to look further into it, she walked off towards the front porch without saying another word. Are you sure you're alright? Yeah, I'm thinking that as well. This looks a little bit distressing. You sound like you were choking earlier. I said I'm fine. Besides, we're already here. We can't back out now. Listen to me, I think you should... Noah abruptly cuts his lecture short as he notices Nina stopping by the front door. She stands there silently, as if contemplating something. I know this may sound rude, but I didn't get a chance to know your names. Well, you were pretty out of it when you walked in. I'm really sorry about that. No worries. This is Detective Hugo Laurent. His assistant Colby. And I'm his second assistant, Noah DeLeon. Huh, it sounds so surreal, just like a cartoon. Really now? What do you think this is, the next Scooby-Doo lineup? This could actually very well be a Scooby-Doo sort of thing, you know. And our lovely friend Colby fits that Scooby-Doo vibe perfectly. Nina meekly smiles before turning away from him. I haven't been quite honest with you, Detective Laurent. Just like before, as if carefully choosing the next word, she decides that in this situation words are not enough. You'll see for yourselves what I mean. I would rather be given more information before you just leave us hanging out to dry, thank you very much, especially when it comes with a detective's time. And with that, Nina enters the house, leaving the three to follow behind. Hugo is about to enter through the foyer when he feels a tug on his arm. Don't forget what I told you. If something happens, let me know right away. You'll be the first to know. You'll be the first to hear about it. And Hugo will be there for me. You know, keeping me company. You, just call the phone and we'll be at the hospital in no time. Or however long it takes to get to the hospital. And with that, Noah releases his grip on Hugo. They proceed to head in, not knowing what awaits them beyond the door. Greeted with a brightly lit hallway, Hugo notes that the interior is just grand. Adorned with fluorescents and antique paintings, it exudes an elegant charm found only in a resplendent house such as this. However, Hugo notices something even more distinct than the splendor. This house is much more terrifying inside than outside. How is it terrifying? Please come this way. So, bracing themselves, they enter the dimly lit drawing room. At first glance, Hugo could not discern the silhouette situated at the far corner. However, on closer inspection, he now understands the reason for all of Nina's unsettling vagueness. Grandfather, we have guests. Grandfather? He looks too young to be a grandfather. What the heck? So I wonder what this paranormal entity has done to this young man. Or old man. Like, and also his eye color's not natural as well. They're a very bright green. Like, there are green eye colors, obviously, but not only is the iris of the eye green, but the outside of the iris of the eye is green. Like a very, very light green. Sitting in the armchair is a young man. He is dressed in a white coloured down dress shirt, tucked in with black slacks and black penny loafers. Staring only at the window, the young man sits there dazed, with little acknowledgement of the people around him. Still, motionless, like a doll. Grandpa, these are the people I spoke of. This is Detective Laurent and his two assistants Colby and Noah. They're going to help us. Even after introducing them to the head of the Mortimer estate, Hugo and Noah could not help but feel unnerved. The man before them is supposed to be frail and older than any of them. Yeah, this is very mysterious. Why is your grandfather such a young, nice-looking man? And yet here he remains, forever unchanging, forever young. A curse in its own way. You could think of, like, staying at 21 years old a forever blessing. But remember, you'll always still be alive, no matter what happens. Whatever perils await for your children, your grandchildren, your great-great-grandchildren, so on and so forth. It could be 69 generations down the line and you're still alive. And your 69th generation of great-grandchildren die as well. Imagine how much pain you would have to go through just so that you can live forever. Like, living forever is one of those things where you either say yes or one of those things that you would say no. But then there's something else that will be met in the middle. We've come a long way, so I'll be making some coffee. Would you also like some, Grandpa? The young man still does not reply back. Maybe his voice box has aged, but his exterior hasn't. Never glancing at Nina or anyone else in the room. Only fixed on the rain. I'll be sure to make a cup for you too. She then timidly gestures to Hugo and Noah back to the foyer. There are more questions. The two follow Nina outside, but before they leave the drawing room, Hugo takes one last look at the young man. There is an all too familiar air about Henry Mortimer. His eyes, they're similar to his own. What colour? Or aura? Whatever he must be longing for, Hugo knows it will not end well. Nina, that man. Yes, he's my grandfather, the one I asked you all to watch over. I know this is hard to believe, but Nina draws something out from her pocket. It's an antique picture of a young man with slicked back hair wearing a luxurious suit. He appears to be poised and refined. This man we have in front of us is not the man that we have in the sitting room. A complete contrast to the current Henry Mortimer. This isn't much to go by, but I swear he is the same person. Then why does he look so young? It happened a few nights ago. I was on my way to get a cup of tea when I heard a loud thud coming from my grandfather's room. I was worried that something fell over, so I went to go check. When I opened the door, I found him collapsed on the ground. I rushed to help him up, but when I did, he looked so different. So many things were rushing to my head, and yet he felt so familiar to me. He wore the same clothes that my grandpa wore that night. And his face, I recognized his face. He just looked younger. That was also the same night I found that letter. It was next to him, already open. I'm sorry again for all this. No matter who I went to, they either said something was wrong with me or my family. With everything going on, maybe they're right. Shut up, Nina. Don't you dare doubt yourself. Don't you dare doubt the paranormal. The pools of water, the dripping sounds, the letter, and now this. Maybe my family is really They're not. Curses aren't real. Detective? I think we easily get too involved in believing that sort of thing exists. In reality, the one who fixates on it feeds off of it. Rumors, doubts, lies, all of those things are what they want to become real. Deep-rooted emotions like that can't possibly be healed or fixed right away. But like a curse, those emotions drag other people down with them. It's funny because I played a visual novel not too long ago with a curse in it, except it happens on the night of Halloween. Personally, I think you are caught up in all of this, but I assure you, we'll see this through, for you and your grandfather. Then explain how the grandfather looks just as young as you do, Hugo. Thank you. Good. What is with that smile? Like, I can't get away from that smile, Hugo. That is a rather creepy smile. Now, our first priority is to find out more about Louise. Nina, the letter you showed us back at the agency, do you have it with you? Ah, yes, it's here. Do you mind if I borrow it for a bit? I'll be sure to give it back. Of course. I'll check upstairs. Noah, you and Colby check the ground floor. Got it. Before they leave to do their own investigations, Hugo grabs a hold of Noah's shoulder. He leans in, close enough for Nina to not hear. Keep a close eye on Mr. Mortimer and Nina. Especially Nina. Okay. I'm counting on you. You too, boy. This could all be a trap at the end of the day. And with that, Hugo heads upstairs, starting his investigation. Mortimer Estate, 11:30 p.m. After searching vigorously through each of the rooms, he knew his findings would eventually lead him here. This is it. Hugo walks towards the nearest lampshade and opens it. Dimly illuminated, he sees the extent of how lavish this part of the house is. From customized drapes to the vintage furniture, everything here exudes that extravagance. But much like the interior Hugo has seen so far, he finds this one in particular reeks of it. Plastered from wall to wall, a sense of gloom lingers. It's as if the room itself is mouldering, despite its preserved nature. I need to hurry. I don't want to stay here for too long. That is the thing. Mortimer Estate, 11:50. Do you still have your overcoat on, dear sir? He searches and searches, still with no sign of anything. What could possibly be going on? Not one thing pertaining to Louise. Damn it, nothing! It's as if he cleared out everything. Just blank everywhere. No, it has to be here. I'm just missing something. He ponders again before remembering the letter. This is the only proof Louise exists so far. I'll try to read it again. Maybe I overlooked it. As he takes the letter out of the envelope, from the envelope, he notices a change within. Bearing no foreboding threat at the bottom of the page, it looks just like a regular letter. What the? If you can't come, then I understand. It's pretty dreary after all. Ah. But if I could ask one last favour of you, could you keep my locket? I know this is selfish of me, but I'd like for you to have it. I'd be happy knowing it's with you. Thank you for everything. Henry. Forever yours, Louise. Locket. This is the same Louise. I thought he was the cause of all this. Are you sure this is the same letter? I mean, Nina did hand us a letter, but it doesn't mean that it's the same letter. I don't understand. Without warning, the sound of a click could be heard across the bedroom, as if something unlocked itself. Hugo turns around and sees at the foot of the bed a chest. Unlike the other furniture, its dark and rustic features have not been maintained well, left to rot on its own. Preparing himself, he opens up the chest. Inside, scrambled together, are bunches of notebooks and small trinkets. Hugo continues to rummage through when he stumbles across an old newspaper article. A young man found dead by the lake. Oh dear. An identified young man was found on the morning of something day, something month, and something year, 3 days prior to his death according to the police. Ruled out as a suicide, police have claimed that the troubled youth drowned himself. Damn. This certainly is a tragic loss. An unfortunate event indeed. So-and-so comments. Nina comments. No claim of his body has been made yet. Louise. By the corner of Hugo's eye, he spots a bright glint buried beneath the clutter. He reaches for it. A locket. A locket of brilliant gold shines unblemished, retaining a timeless luster. Inside it safeguards a picture of a young man with glasses, smiling brightly. This must be the locket that he was talking about. It's so pretty. I'm surprised it still shines like this. And this picture. Did he put this here? No, it might have been Henry. But why? Why would he store it away like this? What should I do? Do you think we should take the locket or leave it? I'm gonna be of the one of taking it. I should probably hold on to this for now. Indeed, Hugo is about to put everything back into the chest when he feels a wet and cold sensation crawling up his leg. It's the water mentioned in the letter, but dripping. What? Water? A pool of water relentlessly spread across the floor, already seeping into the chest. Damn it, no! Suddenly the light shut off. A scream is heard, followed by a myriad of shouts. Hugo is about to call out to Noah, but stops at the sight of pale feet before him. Oh gosh. Looming over him stands a tall and ominous figure. His face is shrouded in complete darkness, devoid of any human emotion. It appears as a young man, but Hugo knows that it's far from it. No, this very thing is trying to imitate a human form, trying to be human. Hugo could only stare back. Paralyzed with fear, he is forced to watch the horror as it slowly creeps towards him. It's just like before, the sensation of someone staring at him from within, but this time it's drawing nearer, inching ever so closely. But words to call out to Colby or Noah fail to reach out. Lodged in his throat, he struggles in pain. With his breathing shallow, he tries to force his body to move, and then it stops. Looking down at Hugo, filled with nothing but malice and contempt, it speaks. Don't get in my way. All of a sudden, the door to the bedroom slams shut and the entity disappears. The tension from his body finally releases his agonizing grip and he gasps desperately for air. His vision blurred and breathing jagged, he staggered towards the door. But what caused the entity to disappear? He yanks at the handle several times, but it's tightly jammed. Blank! Noah! Colby! To his dismay, he is only greeted with silence at the other end of the door. Damn it! From a distance, he faintly hears the sound of Colby's relentless barking as he gets further away from the house. Hugo rushes toward the window. He tries to pry it open, but just like the door, a heavy force prevents him from doing so. He could be in a nightmare for all we know. Blank this! Frantically looking around the room, he spots a nearby chair. Without a moment sooner, Hugo grabs the chair and starts to strike the window. Bit by bit, the window cracks get larger with each blow, splitting off smaller pieces. What the hell is this thing made out of? Still trying to catch his breath, he musters all the strength he has left for a final blow. Damn you, just break already! Clearing out the remaining glass shards, Hugo peers his head out to see any rain he could grab hold of. However, he discovers instead of that, the wall adjacent is covered in ivy. Despite how heavy the rain has drastically become, he reaches out for it, grabbing a handful of the vines. Carefully, he climbs out of the window, gripping tightly and making sure he doesn't lose his footing. Yet, to his luck, the patch of vines he clutches starts to tear away from the wall. Out of desperation, he struggles to find his grip on another, but fails when his hand slips out of reach. Sheesh! And, clambering wildly as he loses a grip on the ivy, he crash lands down onto a thicket of bushes. Air forced out of him. He heaves uncontrollably, trying to even out his breathing. But even that is laborious. An immense pain spread across not only his back but his entire body. God, I'm getting too old for this. What, at 30? Come on, man. Although his body screams out in pain, he forces himself up. There's still time. I can do this. I have to do this. With staggering feet and haggard breathing, he makes his way to the place where it all started. To the lake, where this tragedy starts and ends. Mortimer Estate. So that was only 11 minutes. Finally entering through the park, Hugo calls out to Colby and Noah. Colby! Noah! Where are you? He hears faintly the sounds of barking echoes of people yelling in the distance. He rushed towards the echoes, guiding him through the downpour. With his heart racing and blood rushing to his head, he finds his way to the lake. Drawing close, he sees Nina giving chase to her grandfather, and before she doesn't get too far as Noah stops her. Grandpa, stop! Grandpa! Let me go, my grandpa is... Nina, please, it's dangerous, you'll get hurt too. I don't care! I don't want to lose anyone anymore! It's at that instant Hugo trudged against the water, pursuing in Nina's stead. Hugo? No, don't! Please falls deaf to his ears. Not even the whines and worried cries of his partner could make him turn back. Determined, he trudges further in. Nearing the deep end, he sees Henry Mortimer gazing directly at the abyss. He looks even more frail and disheveled, as if all the life had been drained from him, surrendering it all to the lake. Before Henry could lean in, Hugo reaches out and tugs at his arm. Mr. Mortimer, listen to me. Nothing is waiting for you down there, so please come back to the shore with me. Motionless and unresponsive, he still stares deeply into the water. There are so many things we cannot afford to lose in our lives, and you're one of them. To Nina, you're all she has left. She needs you, Mr. Mortimer. Hugo felt it. A slight jolt from Henry's arm, as if stirred by the motion of Nina. He slowly turns to face Hugo, and those glowing green eyes. Nina. However, just as cool and violent as the storm, Henry jerks back, wrenching his arm away from Hugo's hold on him. All of this is my fault. If only I got to Louise sooner, then none of this would have happened. Henry inches even closer to the edge. Louise. I'm sorry. Or Louis. I should have... Should have what? Gone in his stead? Gone with him? You know that wouldn't resolve anything. Not for you or Louis. I read what he wrote to you those years ago. He understood that he understood if you didn't want to come see him. But the thing is, Mr. Mortimer, Louis never thought anything less of you. The locket is proof of that. Louis's locket. Yes, it's the symbol of his love for you. That's why. You don't have to shoulder all of that pain by yourself anymore. We can talk about it. About you and Louis. All of it. Together. Hugo extends not only his hand to him, but a promise. A promise that Henry had yearned for so long. A way to forgive himself. His eyes no longer glowing. He hesitates at first. What fool believes in a deserved forgiveness? Such a thing doesn't exist, it does exist. And yet despite everything, Hugo still reaches out to him. To a stranger. Maybe he can be forgiven. Just as he was about to reach out for Hugo, a hand slithers around Henry's instead. Oh no. Its arms unnaturally contort around him, while its head perches on his shoulder. This thing. This Louise is no longer pretending to be human. With cold green eyes, it glares directly at Hugo, mocking him, cursing him, wishing nothing but despair. We can be saved. We can be forgiven. There is only one true way out of this. I will share with you the most happiest of endings. Before Hugo could reach out for Henry's hand, he disappears into the water. Mr. Mortimer! Without hearing the anguished cries and desperate pleas, Hugo dives after him, into the abyss. 12:30 AM within the abyss. Plunged into icy waters, Hugo feels shocks running rampant throughout his body, like spikes continuously piercing from his legs to the tips of his fingers, fiercely and unyielding. His chest tightens and his heart races as he begins to kick his legs, hoping whichever way he goes he'll find his way to Henry. Swimming deeper and deeper in, he sees faintly a figure slowly descending into the darkness. Ugh. As he finally gets close to Henry, long snake-like arms stretch across the void and grab Hugo's neck. finally squeezing all the air out from him. He tries desperately to wrench his hand away. But with each struggle, Hugo's movements begin to weigh heavier and heavier. Luis, where are you, Luis? It's looking for Luis. Digging deep into his coat's pocket, he grasps tightly in his hand the locket that Henry kept and had long forgotten, holding it out as it shines ever so brightly in the dark. Ah, there you are. It releases its grip on Hugo and instead reaches out for the locket. Taking this as a chance, he drops the chain and kicks with all his might to grab Henry's arm. With his heart burning and his body screaming, he swims desperately to the surface. Almost there. I just have to. As the light from the surface begins to blur, Hugo makes one last attempt to reach for it. With his limbs worn out as his energy spent, this is all he can do. Before he loses consciousness, he notices a figure swimming towards them, getting closer and closer. And then, everything fades to black. Something time at a something place. Driven along with what feels like an endless sea, Hugo courses through wave after wave, not knowing where he's going or caring for that matter. All he knows is that he's very, very tired. How long has it been since he's had a good night's rest? It's been too long. Maybe I should take that rest now. I'd like that so much. Where on earth are we right now? I agree that you deserve it, but not here. I'm sorry for starting you. I just want to see you before I go. Luis, you've done so much for me and Henry. Thank you. No worries. From a far off distance, a voice cries out to him. So it is within his subconscious, beckoning for him to come back. Well, I guess this is it. Take care, Hugo. And back to life we are, at a certain time. With his eyes closed and his senses still returning, he feels the constant tugs and licks of a certain... Ah, lovely. Lovely. Tugs and licks. Why, as he tries to wake up his partner. Hugo! He also hears another familiar voice too annoyingly close for comfort. Gosh, he's blue. Eyes shoot right open, he jerks up. Confused, Hugo looks around before he coughs up the remaining water in his lungs. Are you alright? Aww. Noah starts to pat his back while Colby continues to whine over Hugo. What happened? Where's Mr. Mortimer? He's safe. So is Nina. They're both okay. The police and the ambulance should be arriving soon. Thank goodness. Isn't there more you have to say to me? Instead of, thank goodness? I swear, you don't listen to a damn word I say. I'm sorry, Noah. Exhausted, he lets out a sigh. He then continues to pat Hugo's back aggressively when someone approaches them. An officer. Oh, Detective Laurent. Oh, Nina. There's someone I want you to meet. So that is grandfather then. Behind her stands an elderly man. Frail in stature, he timidly looks to the side pensively as he ponders to himself. Although his youth has long faded, his eyes are what catches Hugo's attention. They're no longer a piercing and vicious green. Exactly. It's the neutral eye colour that we saw just before we went into the lake. Only eyes just like Nina's. Hello, Mr. Mortimer. Detective. I never got the chance to say goodbye to him. I always thought about it every day. What if Louis lived on in this world? What if he stayed a little longer with me? It's because of that constant mindset I dragged everyone down. And I kept hurting not only me, but Nina especially. I was the one who kept hurting her, the one to blame for all of this. But you, someone that I've never met, still went out of your way to save me. Not knowing my burdens or my faults. Thank you. Hugo reaches out to Henry and smiles brightly at him. It's my pleasure, sir. But before he lets go, Henry tugs at Hugo's hands one last time. I hope that someday you too will overcome it. And what exactly? The next day at 8 AM. Well, good morning, Hugo. Well, it's gonna have to be a good, what you'd call, outro. This is not so far a great outro in that case, but that is quite a fascinating story, but also a tale of self-preservation over yourself mourning. And this definitely in a way is a lot of mourning in this game, considering the fact that Nina is always on edge because of this sudden situation that has occurred up. But I really like this story. It has a really nice twist to it at the very end. It's like the paranormal nature of it is still just paranoia at the end of the day, but the psychological implications of such horrors that have consumed someone has meant that something like dangling tentacles can be spawned, but they're not physical entities, but they're psychological entities that have drawn forth from the mind of somebody, and then they've somehow lashed into someone else, with that being Hugo. But because we kept the locket, it meant that we were able to save ourselves and somebody from essentially drowning themselves by their past actions or past mourning that is still there with them. But I really like this game, so kudos to the developers of this game for making a very absorbing story. Thank you so much for watching, and see you all in the next video, whichever game that may be. Thank you all so much for watching, and take care of yourselves.